Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Jessica Nicole. I'm a self-published author of YA fantasy romance novels, and in today's video I'm actually going to be filming a TBR video, but this is not my January TBR. I've decided that in 2023 I'm going to do my TBR videos a little bit differently. First of all, I'm not going to do individual TBR videos for the month. I am going to do individual monthly wrap-ups at the end of the month just to let you guys know what I read and what I thought of what I read. But I'm just gonna do one big like yearly TBR video. These are all the books that I plan on reading this year, and if I read extra books they'll just be in my monthly wrap-up videos. But my goal for 2023 was to read 36 books, so at least 3 in a month, and if I read more than that, that's great. But yeah, I just want to share with you guys the books that I'm gonna read this year and let you know what you can kind of expect in my monthly wrap-up videos. If you guys are planning on reading any of these books or you've read any of these books, please let me know in the comments down below. I am a writer. This is primarily a writing channel, but I feel like if you are a good writer, then you're an avid reader. If you're not an avid reader, you're probably not a very good writer. So they kind of just go hand in hand for me, and that's why I'm just getting back into reading more. So without further delay, I'm going to be consulting my list here that I made in my journal. Some of these I have physical copies of, and some of them I have Audible copies of, or I will be getting physical or Audible copies of. I've got The Final Gambit, which is the 3rd book in the Inheritance Games trilogy that I plan on listening to this January. So this month, it's like January 7th right now when I'm filming this. I started the series last month in December, and I love it, and I'm excited to see how it ends. Another series I'm going to be finishing is actually the 2nd book in the Wilderwood duology, which I have a physical copy of here. For the Throne, I read For the Wolf in December. Is my favorite book I read all year, and so I'm excited for the Throne, even though this centers more on the sister I don't like. This centers more on Neve. Last book was mostly about Red and Aemon, and this is about Neve and her toxic situation that she's got with that man that's awful. So maybe maybe they will redeem themselves in this book. I hope so. The way For the Wolf ended, it kind of seemed like we didn't have the whole story of why they were doing what they were doing, so I don't know. Maybe we'll get the whole story and I will actually like Neve, but I don't know. She's got a long way to go. I just feel like, and I'm gonna do a reading vlog for this one, most likely, and it will be a spoilery reading vlog, and I'll remind you guys when I'm filming it that it's gonna be a spoiler reading vlog. But I just feel like, girl, if I tell you I'm fine, I'm fine. Like, stop being ugh. But anyways, I don't know. Hopefully she can redeem herself, like I said. So those are 2 series. I think they're the only 2 series that I'm finishing this year, that I started the year before and finishing this year. Another book, the book I'm reading right now actually, is Hooked by Emily McIntyre. This is sort of like a fractured fairy tale in the fact that it's not a retelling. It's like a dark contemporary romance with Captain Hook, centered around Captain Hook. But it's set like in the modern day world. So from what I can tell, he's like this mobster dude, and he's got beef with Peter Pan. They're like the same age in this, and Wendy is Peter Pan's daughter in this, and he kind of sets his sights, Hook kind of sets his sights on Wendy to get to Peter for revenge for something. And I'm a decent way through this book right now, and I love it. I set myself like, you know, 3 chapters a night or whatever, but I always end up going over that. I'm about, where am I? I'm on chapter 42 of like 50. So I'm a decent way through this book. I'm not going to say too much about it right now, but just know that I really enjoy it. Look up trigger warnings if you're planning on reading this. I will give an in-depth list of trigger warnings in my January wrap-up though. So, another Emily McIntyre book that I'm planning on reading is Scarred. I have a physical copy of this. This is the same thing, but with Scar, like a character based on Scar from The Lion King, and it's like a royal dark romance. And another one I plan on getting, it's not out yet. There is a 3rd book in that I think it's called the Never After series. They're not even interconnected standalones, I don't think. They're just standalone books that follow the same theme. Wretched is a book in that same series, but it didn't really appeal to me when I read the synopsis. What does appeal to me is Twisted, which is going to be the 4th book in that series. I think it's coming out in February, and I'm going to buy that one. It's based on Jafar from Aladdin. So that's the book I'm planning on reading this year. Another book I'm planning on reading this year is these 2 books. So I've got Once Upon a Broken Heart and The Ballad of Never After, both by Stephanie Garber. I was planning on reading these in February because it deals with like love and broken hearts and romance and stuff. February, Valentine's Day. But I keep hearing that I should read Caraval first because there are spoilers for Caraval in these books. So I ordered Caraval, physical copies of the Caraval trilogy. I'm going to read those 3. I'm going to read these 2. And then there's a 3rd book in this series coming out like in September next year. So I'm reading all of those. So that's 6 books. 6, 7, 8, 9 with the Twisted one, 10, and then 11 with the Final Gambit. So we're 11 books in. Another one I'm going to read through Audible, I'm going to read Legendborn and Bloodbound. I've really been looking forward to reading those. There's a black female protagonist. It's like a King Arthur retelling, modern day magic and demons and all that. So right up my alley. So I'm going to read those. I think there's only 2 books in the series right now. Don't know if there's going to be more, but I'm going to read those 2 this year. I'm going to be reading the Fair Isle trilogy. So by Tessania Odette. So I'm reading, this is 3 books in one, but I'm just counting it as one. It's a bound version. I'm going to be reading that. I'm going to be reading also Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves. I don't know anything about this, but apparently it's really good, and I like anything with thieves in it. So, yeah. This is like a forced marriage, forced proximity situation. Kind of gives me Beauty and the Beast vibes. I'm also going to be reading these 2. It's a duology by Kailyn Byron. Y'all know that I loved Cinderella is Dead by her, and I can't wait to read these. I don't really know anything about it. I just bought it because she wrote them. Basically, the main girl, she inherits this estate from her estranged family member, and she's got these powers where she can make plants grow, but she can't really control it. It gives me kind of like dark, spooky vibes, and it's a duology. I like her writing style, and I can't wait to read them. Alright, next I've got on my list, I think it's Bloodmarked, Legendborn and Bloodmarked, not Bloodbound. And I have Small Favors by Erin Craig. I read House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin Craig last year, and I really liked it, and I want to check out more of her stuff. So I have that on my list for Audible. This Poison Heart, This Wicked Fate, those were these 2 by Kailyn Byron. This Poison Heart is the first one, and This Wicked Fate is the second one. I also want to read this, which I did not know anything about, but I read the synopsis in Walmart and I thought it sounded good, so I just picked it up. It basically sounds like some kind of magical tournament situation, life and death. I don't know if there's a romance in it or not, but it sounded interesting enough. It's Lightlark by Alex Astor. So, don't know anything about the author, don't know anything about the story, but hopefully it's a pleasant surprise. I want to read The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw? I don't know. I just read the synopsis again in Walmart and picked it up. This was actually in a bound copy, like there was 2 of them, but I wanted the books separately because they didn't seem like they should be like together. So I ordered this one on its own. And then I also want to read the other book that was in that bind up, which is called The Winterwood. And this one is basically about a town that has a dark past. Basically, they drowned some witches, and these witches like come back from the dead and start possessing the bodies of other like young women, and just chaos ensues. And The Winterwood is about a boy who kind of disappears from his camp, for his reform camp for troubled teens, and he finds himself in the Winterwood, which is like a forbidden place in the town, and he doesn't know how he got there. And a girl kind of is the only one to like believe him and help him, and she's kind of an outcast in the town too, from what I can tell. So I'm going to be reading both of those. I'm also going to be reading The Cousins, by Karen M. McManus. This is about 3 cousins who are estranged from their grandmother because of something their parents did. We don't know. But one day out of the blue, their grandmother kind of summons the 3 of them, and their parents are like, yes, you're going, because they're trying to get back in the will. But when they get to their grandma's like private island, bad stuff starts to happen. I'm getting murder mystery vibes. So I have that. I also want to read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I'm not going to read the, what is it, Shadow and Bone trilogy. I've just heard enough bad things about it that I don't think I want to go there. But, so I don't care if reading Six of Crows or Crooked Kingdom is going to give me spoilers for it, because I don't plan on reading it anyway. I just really want to read Six of Crows. I've heard, like, really good stuff about it. I've heard great stuff about the characters and the plot, and yeah, I'm going to listen to both of those on Audible. Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. What have I not talked about? I'm going to read the Bridge Kingdom duology on Audible. I am interested in reading these. They sound interesting to me. They sound a lot like the plot of a trilogy that I have planned, so we'll see what happens there. But I don't know. I like stories like this. I like kind of like court intrigue, espionage type things going on. I think that's what I loved most about the Cruel Prince trilogy. I want to read the Merciful Crow duology. By Margaret Owen, I think. Margaret Owens. I'm gonna check. Hold on. Sorry, I had to go get my iPad because I want to make sure I'm giving the authors' names with the books. So the Bridge Kingdom duology, it's the Bridge Kingdom and the Traitor Queen, and those are both by Danielle Jensen. And then the Merciful Crow duology, it's the Merciful Crow and the Faithless Hawk, and those are both by Margaret Owen. And I'm getting like Black Plague vibes. She's like an assassin, but like a mercy killer, and she's in like this cast of mercy killers that kind of look down on, but you know, the kingdom needs them, because there's a plague going on, and so they're like keeping the plague from spreading by killing, you know, people that are beyond help. And I think she has something going on with the prince, but also with the prince's bodyguard. So I don't know, we'll see. Sounds interesting. I'm going to be reading The Merciful Crow, The Faithless Hawk. Yeah, the third one in the I think, am I done? Oh no. Yeah, I think I am. Oh, and I'm gonna be reading A Court of Thorns and Roses finally. I gave in. I didn't want to because it was like so hyped up, but I kind of wanted to let like the hype die down before I checked it out. But I'm gonna go ahead and read it because I'm just that intrigued. I'm gonna read the first 2. From what I can understand, the first 3 follow like the main girl. So I'm only gonna read the first 3. I'm not gonna go past that. So I'm going to read this year 2 of them is the plan. I'm gonna read A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury because those are the first 2, and that's all I had room for on my list of 36 with all the other things I'm reading. And so I'm excited for those. It's kind of gives me Beauty and the Beast vibes again. Like, she accidentally kills someone important in the Fae world. She's a human who accidentally kills someone important in the Fae world, the main girl is, and she has to go to the Fae court, I guess, to kind of atone for her sins. I'm also going to be reading To Kill a Kingdom. I don't really know anything about this. I got this like for free, kind of, on an Audible sale. It sounds a lot like a Little Mermaid, but a darker version, so like a Little Mermaid retelling. is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. Tracy Deonn is the author of Legendborn and Bloodmarked. And then another book I'm gonna read this year. On my list, I also have The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. I'm gonna be reading this one on Audible. This is by Megan Bannon, and honestly, I don't really know too much about this. It seems like it's this world where like the living and the dead are separated by a very thin barrier, and you can cross back and forth. And Heart is like a stable hand, and Mercy is a soldier, and they kind of have this unconventional love story, is what it sounds like to me. I don't know. I just thought it'd be a fun one to read around Halloween. I also want to read A Broken Blade by Melissa Blair. This one, I was on TikTok and I heard someone mention that this deals with themes of colonialism and immigration and things like that. I listened to the sample of this and it sounds really interesting. She, the main character is, I think she's half like fae and half human, and basically the fae are being hunted and killed as their land is being taken over by the humans, and she is a blade, which is like she's a soldier for the king that's taking over the land. So I don't know how that's working. I don't know what's going on there, but it sounded really interesting, so I have it on my list to read. Also on my list is Hotel Magnifique by Emily Taylor. I've heard this one compared to Caraval and The Night Circus, which I've never read The Night Circus, but since I'm reading Caraval this year, I thought it'd be cool to like read Hotel Magnifique and compare them. From the sample I listened to, this sounds a little bit like it's kind of set in the past. It sounds like it's set in France, or some fantasy version of France maybe. So we'll see. It sounded interesting. So, and then the last one that I have on my list, I think, hopefully I didn't skip anything, but the last one that I have on my list is Ruled by Blood. And this one was written by Alexia Blake and May Sage. This one is one I really didn't know anything about. Like, I literally typed in like fantasy romance or dark fantasy romance. But listening to the sample of this, it deals a lot with like the idea of Seelie and Unseelie. So like, if you have read like some fantasy books or you're into the old like original like fairy tales, the Seelie are like the good fairies, the Unseelie are the bad fairies basically, and the main character, she's like an Unseelie princess whose mom is horrible to her. She like lives in the shadows, and I don't know, I think she kind of she's giving me very much like an anti-hero vibes, which I really love that. I think like some of my favorite tropes are the anti-hero, which is probably why I like so much dark contemporary romance, or like the tragic hero. So it's giving me both of those vibes, and yeah, I'm excited to read this one. I'm probably going to read this one sooner rather than later. It's one of the ones I'm most excited to read this year. And that is my chaotic little video about my 2023 TBR. Like I said, this is going to be like my only TBR video this year, and then I will give you my reviews of the books in my monthly wrap-ups. So the goal is 3 books in a month. If I read more than that, that's great, but gotta at least get 3 books read every month. So wish me luck. Don't forget to like this video, comment, subscribe. Let me know what books are on your TBR this year, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye.